We are sitting down with Josh Murphy, Kettering Fairmont, class of 2008. Josh earned a total of 6 varsity letters, 4 in football and 2 in baseball, and he was a star in both sports. As a freshman, he made an impact in football as a punter. By the middle of his sophomore year, he started on defense and became a mainstay there as a junior and senior. He also played offense as well. In 2005, he made second team All-Division. By 2007, his senior year, he was first team All-Division, honorable mention All-Southwest Ohio, and top special teams award. Josh lettered 2 years in baseball, earning second team All-Area and second team All-Division his junior year. As a senior, he was team MVP, first team All-Division, and first team All-Area. He was primarily a left fielder, but also played some infield and was the team's closer on occasion, compiling an impressive ERA of 0.95. Offensively, his batting average as a senior was an incredible .618, which is still the school record. At the time, that was the 14th best average all time in the state of Ohio, and it still ranks number 16. His career batting average of .508 was number 16 all time in Ohio, and today it is 21st. His 55 hits as a senior also remains the school record, and at the time was 21st all time in Ohio. He also led the team that year with 32 RBIs, and here's an incredible stat. He went to the plate 108 times his senior year and struck out only 1 time. And if that wasn't enough, he led the team in stolen bases his senior year. After high school, Josh went on to play football and baseball at Case Western, and he played baseball at Ohio Northern. Josh currently lives in Beaver Creek with his wife, Courtney, and his 2 children, Reagan and Maverick. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you.
Josh, you were a rarity in that you saw the field as a freshman in football. Not many guys do that at Fairmont, at a school the size of Fairmont. Did you feel a little pressure being a freshman punter on the punt team along with guys 2 or 3 years older than you?
Yeah, you kind of feel about pressure, but how I became a punter was kind of happy accident. Messed around before practice freshman year, just kicking the balls around, waiting for practice to start. I was hitting some good punts. I had punted, in middle school. One of the coaches saw me a couple days later. Got pulled over to the varsity field because back then we were all still practicing behind the school. So, you had the freshman field and you had the varsity and kind of the little JV side field and stuff. And so everybody wanted to be pulled over to the varsity field. So a little bit of pressure, but I think, anybody who's competing, once you kind of get in the moment, it's not, you don't think about it. So ironically, first time, punting for the coaches, obviously you want to do a good job, and bad snap. And caught it, but I hit a pretty good punt. It was perfect spiral, came off my foot great, just kind of.
You mean in your first punt of your career?
First punt in practice.
Oh.
First punt in front of, on the varsity practice field and everything. Came off well, and then it just kind of went from there. We hit first scrimmage against Northmont, I remember. Hit a punt, and the guy broke free, and you're the last line of defense as a punter, but running back, linebacker by nature. So instincts just kind of kick in, and I hit the guy pretty well, knocked him out of bounds pretty hard, and so that was kind of like the first getting the jitters out, and then
not a typical punter.
Just kind of goes from there. Yeah, I punted, but I didn't consider it my main position. But I think once you're in those positions, it just kind of kicks in. First punt was against Alter, like 7 yards deep in our own end zone as a freshman. And that was, so obviously intimidating. Everybody, Fairmont Alter rivalry, tons of fans. So
you remember how you felt waiting to go in for that first punt?
Oh yeah. You're excited. You're a little nervous, but.
Especially punting out of your own end zone?
Because getting the third down play, you kind of thought to yourself like, wow, it's like third long. We're not in a good spot. Am I really about to kick this out of our own end zone like first time? And as fate would have it, that's what happened. But I think anybody who's a competitor, when the moment's there, you just got to take it. You just got to focus and got a good punt off. And luckily, that one did not get returned to where I had to make a tackle.
Oh, great. Midway through your sophomore year, Josh, you were starting on defense and you went on to become a two-way player, playing multiple positions on both offense and defense. What are some highlights from your football career at Fairmont?
Gosh, I think one of my favorite moments, and my buddies and I would talk about this sometimes in our group chat, but playing Springfield at home, and our defense that year we were on the field we quite a lot. We had some poor starting positions, and they got the ball deep in our own territory late in the game, trying to win the game, and they get the 1st and goal inside the 10. We hold them for 3 downs. It's 4th and goal with the game on line, and they called a questionable pass interference call actually on me, which we reviewed the film. I didn't touch him at all, but so a questionable call. So they get a fresh set of downs, and so you kind of have the meeting. Everybody gets together. Half distance to the goal, and they got 1st and goal from I think something like the 3-yard line, and we hold them for 3 more downs. So we get the 4th down, and they had a pretty athletic quarterback at the time. I couldn't tell you his name, but yeah, he gets out. He's just scrambling around. He's been causing problems all game. Scrambling around. I was playing, I think we were in like cover 2 at the time, so I had the back left half of the field, and he's scrambling around, and I see a guy break free. He kind of just wide open. I just in the mess. Chucked it up to him, and luckily it was kind of like, oh crap at this moment. And I ran over as fast as I could. I was able to break up the pass, and then and we ended up winning the game. But that was just one of those moments where sometimes the ones at the end of the game are always the ones that you remember the most. That's the strongest emotion. And we thought we had the game won the first time, and then the flag comes out, and so then now you get redemption. And to be able to hold a team with an athletic quarterback like that for 8 downs inside your own 10-yard line is that doesn't happen very often.
Unbelievable.
And so that was even more special in that moment. So it's probably one of my favorite memories.
Yeah,
from football.
that would not be something you would forget.
No, that was a great one.
Moving on to baseball. Just like in football, you were very versatile and played multiple positions. What was your favorite position to play? If you got to choose a favorite.
Shortstops, I think a lot of people's favorite. You get a lot of action, especially in high school. Guys are pulling the ball a lot. Not a lot of guys are that great at hitting the backside. So you get a lot of action there. You get to turn double plays. At the time, Talladega Nights was a popular movie. So the old Shake and Bake. My buddy Eric Kern and he was playing second base, and so we would always do Shake and Bake, and it was our thing for turning two, and it was fun. So I think that's kind of the action position, but I think so. Probably favorite position, but there's nothing better than throwing somebody out from the outfield. I think that is defensively in baseball. It's probably my favorite feeling because they think they got it, and there's nothing better than the ball comes out of your hand clean. It's on a great line. You see it going in, and you're like, yes.
You got him.
You got him, and then tag down, they're out.
And reportedly you had a cannon.
I think I threw the ball well.
Yeah. Your senior year was otherworldly. 618 batting average, 55 hits, 32 RBIs, led the team in stolen bases, played great defense, closed out games on the mound when you were needed. I don't think it's a stretch to say that you had one of the greatest seasons that any high school player in the state of Ohio ever had. How did a football injury the previous fall impact your senior baseball season?
Yeah, so I ended up tearing my cartilage in my shoulder. It was like the fifth or 6th game of the season against Lebanon on a blitz, hit the quarterback, and it kind of partially popped out, tore a little bit, as one would do, especially in senior season. Ignored it for the rest of the football season, got to the end, and it's kind of got to the point where it's like, okay, do you want to do surgery? I'm not going to do any more damage at this point. Do you do surgery? Maybe miss your senior season? And I did not want to do that. So
not an option.
Yeah. So, and luckily it was my left shoulder, so not my throwing shoulder, but still a little uncomfortable in my swing. So I transitioned. I was never much of like a power hitter. I think I had 5 home runs or something like that my junior year, and I only had 1 my senior year because I just transitioned to just trying to hit just contact, just hit line drives, and that ended up being a blessing because I hit some doubles, a few triples, and stuff like that. Like I said, only 1 home run, but just focusing on hitting line drives, and then also I developed my backside swing a little bit more. So that opens up the field even more when when you can take those outside pitches and hit them into the right center gap or down the right field line. I mean, it just so that injury forced me to make a change that I probably wouldn't have made otherwise, and who knows what would happen. But
Wow.
fate works in weird ways.
Yes. You struck out 1 time in 108 plate appearances your senior year. That's ridiculous. Do you remember the 1 strikeout?
I do. It's tough to forget. Against Lebanon, and actually one of my good friends that was a high school summer ball teammate was a catcher. Questionable call, 3rd strike. I'll say I did not take many.
Just like the pass interference call.
I did not take many 2-strike calls ever. I was very aggressive with 2 strikes, and that one just didn't go my way. But that's the game of baseball. You don't, calls aren't always going to go your way, and it is what it is. I mean, would it be great to say I didn't strike at all my senior year? Absolutely. But, I do know that I swung and missed on the first 2 strikes. So ultimately, it's in your own hands. If I'd have hit one of those 2 balls, then I'm not in a position for called third.
You'd never make it in the majors now with only 1 strikeout.
Yeah.
Those guys are okay with striking out 200 times in the season.
Right.
Give me some highlights from your baseball career at Fairmont. Can you think of any specific moments?
The one that jumps out kind of the most for me, combination of like pregame and during the game. It was the game that I ended up breaking the hits record, and I didn't even know that I was close. I didn't talk about my stats. I'm superstitious. Don't want to anger the baseball gods.
Good for you.
Don't want to do anything like that. Just go out and play. I just want to go out and play hard every game and just see what happens. And my coach Dement, linebackers coach, defensive coordinator, assistant AD, great coach, but he wasn't quite as superstitious. And he mentioned something to me in statistics class that day. It was a side flipping comment. Hey, I heard you might break the record tonight. And I was like, what record? And he told me the single season hits record. And I as being superstitious, I quickly, kind of moved off the conversation. But so going to that game that night, I was kind of like, ooh, he told me he broke the golden rule. But ultimately, when you get up to the plate, just kind of shut everything out. But it did change things. The realization, and when I got that hit, it added a level of joy to the moment that I probably wouldn't have had otherwise. So it was a great moment, and then just getting to share it, with my teammates, and then my family afterwards was awesome. And it was at home too, so everybody wants to do something great when you're playing at home. So
right,
that worked out well.
Who were some of the people who influenced you the most during your athletic career at Fairmont?
I'd say going back to Coach Dement, he was probably the biggest influence because I spent the most time with him.
Was he your position coach in football?
Yeah, so the linebackers coach and defensive coordinator, and then I also had him for calc and stats and for class. But he was the kind of guy, very intense, kind of how I grew up. If you messed up, you were going to know about it, but when you did something great, he was lifting you up higher than anybody else. So I think he probably had the biggest impact in my high school career as a coach, just because, you were always motivated by him, his passion for the game. He was always there. His emotion was intense, whether it was, like I said, whether he was mad about something or whether he was super happy about something. It was always intensity, and he fed the defense, and we played with that intensity, and learned some of that, growing up, but then to have a coach in those situations, to be able to be privileged enough to have him for 4 years was awesome.
I'll bet he was going crazy during that 8-play goal line stand.
He was, and actually I called him. I spoke to him on the phone. I hadn't spoken to him in a little while. I called him and spoke to him on the phone after all this, and we reminisced on some things, and that moment came up. So it was fun, and so that was great. And then obviously Coach Fisher, he put me in a position to succeed in baseball. I was baseball is a little bit more of an individual sport. It's a team sport, but you're in an individual position at the time. And it's you against the pitcher sometimes, or if you're pitching, you against the hitter. So he kind of let me do things the way that worked for me. And some coaches don't like to do that. And he kind of allowed me to do things the way that I need to do things to succeed. And I think that speaks a lot about a coach as well, to be able to like kind of recognize that in a player.
Coach Dement, who just retired as Centerville's athletic director.
Yeah.
Coach Drake and Coach Fisher all had the same reaction when asked about you, and that was the same 4 words: "What a great kid." So that's got to make you feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
After Fairmont, you went on to play both sports in college. Talk about the difference between playing in high school and college beyond the obvious difference in talent.
The expectations are a lot different. Even any given level, any given division, the guys you're playing with are like you're talking about the talent wise, they're some of the best on the team. So what that leads to is, you've got to be on it in practice, outside of practice, in the weight room. You need to be at your best at all times, or try to be at your best at all times. And so that kind of not that in high school you could you push yourself and the expectation was there, but college it kind of ratcheted up a little bit. And I tried football and baseball both my freshman year. After freshman year, I dropped baseball and went with football for a year at Case Western, because we had a really good football team, and so I went with that for a year. But yeah, I learned by trying to do too that the difference in time commitment and expectations is quite a bit different.
Josh, you and Courtney have 2 kids. What would you like them to know about their dad as an athlete at Fairmont?
Gosh, probably that I worked as hard as I could, and to just be ready when the opportunities are there, and that when I got them, I took them. So just be ready. You never know what's going to happen. Like I said, pure luck that I ended up punting balls around before practice, and then I end up a 4-year letterman in football. Like that just happens. But when the moment came, and like I said, that very first practice, getting pulled over, the very first punt I hit, bad snap, got a great punt off, but I was ready. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. Every time you get those moments, it's not that moment, it was everything you did before that got you ready. And so you never know what's going to happen. You always got to be ready.
Boy, that's great advice. Any advice from a Hall of Famer to young athletes coming up through the ranks at Fairmont?
Don't lose the fun of the game. And that was probably, when I was looking back at everything, I had an intense passion for the game. I'm a very strong competitor, which I think anybody in the Hall of Fame is obviously a big competitor. But I was thinking about kind of what fostered that, and it was like the joy first, like that the pizza parties with your friends after a championship win, stuff like that, and then building up through that, and then it's not always easy, but like develop the passion first, and then the work comes. I'm not a huge fan of the phrase like, if you love what you do, it's not considered work. It's work, but you enjoy the work. It's not always fun, but you're doing it for a reason that you love, for something that you love, and that applies to sports. So joy first, and just develop that passion and drive.
More great advice. Josh, it has been a real pleasure to sit down and talk with you.
Thank you.
And congratulations on this wonderful honor.
Thank you.
And I hope you and your family enjoy the weekend. We've been talking to Josh Murphy, Hall of Fame class of 2025, Kettering Fairmont class of 2008.